I thought last year when we were actually at the race. This is fine.
I know.
I'll take it. It's not as nice, right? It's not as nice, but
I mean, we were just there for a wedding a couple weeks ago. We missed it by what, 3 weeks? Oh,
I know. God, that's how selfish of like that. Just schedule it during the race. What are you doing?
I know. Like, have some foresight. They're there.
It's unfortunate, but still.
They're setting everything up. We had a week. Am I cutting it out? Am I having audio issues? I'm hearing it in my ears. Have I cut for you at
A
all?
little bit. It's kind of like a little bit like flickery. I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah, right? Oh, no.
This is good. That's a really good sign. Really
Really
good
good
sign.
sign that we start with audio
We're
issues.
we're gonna win. We're gonna win some money if we've got the audio issues. This is really good.
Yeah. Okay, I see that we're
We
live.
can never do it intentionally.
We're live across all the apps. Welcome, welcome, welcome. The Las Vegas Grand Prix. You'll notice right away, I'm not sharing my screen for the book. It's right behind this image, but I want to start the shows while people filter in talking about the tracks because my approach starts, it's race week starts Monday. I start thinking about what does it feel like in the sim? What are the corner type form well at a certain circuit? And so the main thing for Las Vegas for me, and I'm sharing the Pirelli image, is low grip. Cool temperatures, low grip. It's dusty. We got the desert dust all over the circuit. The racing line gets dusty. Off the racing line gets extremely dusty. And then because we're there in November and it is the desert, it gets really cold. So teams are struggling for tire temperature. And I think they're going to struggle for grip. Mike, do you concur?
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like the worst version of a street track that you can offer up with these guys, right? You've got the barriers, the tight confines, the high speeds, and you still like. I think at the moment that strip, like we were there, it's open to local traffic, right? You just have like road cars driving all over it,
Yeah.
and there isn't any. I think there's like the Ferrari Challenge or something, but there's not like a legitimate feeder series event that
No.
takes place here to put down some rubber, right? So it's not like what we even saw in Baku, for example, which was dusty and in the desert and low grip. Like it's even worse here when you combine that with the low tire temps. It is kind of like driving on ice, and we already saw that quite a bit. There was a lot of sentiment from the drivers on the team radio over the practice sessions and qualifying, saying that they have zero grip, and I think that probably it's going to play a factor to some degree. We saw it play a factor last year with Lando just flying off the track into the barriers, right, or into the runoff area.
Big time. And you know what? This is a good time to say it's already played a factor for you and I because the boys have started the weekend hot. We both won our hot picks. Good job, boys. Good on us.
Good job. We did it.
We both, I think, saw low grip. Ooh, it's dusty. Dusty's going to lead to some understeering. What driver maybe performs better when there's understeering? Mr. Carlos Sainz. And we both had hot picks on Carlos Sainz in qualifying. I had him to win his group. You had him to beat Charles Leclerc. And they both hit. So I would like to potentially start the show, Mike, by continuing maybe a Carlos Sainz weekend.
Yeah, I think that's where we need to look first. That was the theme for me coming into today's conversation was how do you get the best value on Carlos Sainz and how do you get the best value on Ferrari in general? Because I do think with the conditions that we're going to see and the risk of graining, right? We just talked about how difficult it is to get the tires at the temperature. We know historically how Ferrari has dealt with front graining, probably better than the rest of the constructors. We know that teams like McLaren, for example, and a driver like Lando and Oscar. I mean, Oscar hasn't really wrapped his head around all of the tire prep and work yet. Lando, he admits all the time that he struggles with front graining. We've seen that. So I'm kind of like, how do we maximize Ferrari in the race thing?
So Ferrari as a team does not have great odds. I mean, they're minus like 600 for the other teams. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know if I want to pick between. My audio sounds crazy in my ears. I see Ed in the chat. We do have people. Let us know if the audio is crazy and we'll fix it. Or I'd love a confirmation that it's good.
Is it your aux cable? Like is your cable?
I'm just so worried to play with it because then it's going to reset everything. Does it sound weird to you?
It does, yeah. It's like flickery, like in and out type of thing.
Hmm. It shouldn't
Again,
be.
though, that's good news. I'm not going to say like I'm okay with that. I'm sure it's horrible for everybody else, but it's really good news for us that it's out there.
Yeah. Mike's is worse. Okay, we're good.
Mine's worse. What, like,
Okay.
what do I do? I don't even know. How do I make it good?
No,
I don't understand.
we were talking. I'm just loud. Okay,
Sweet.
I'll move it away. That's because Mike's so much quieter. We were talking pre-show about things in the off season. We got to figure out a way to not use a third-party, like random free website to bring you into the live stream. That's the issue. Anyways, I was saying I don't want to pick between Carlos and George. I don't think. I could see George winning this race. The Merc has looked great all weekend. Lewis should be up there if he didn't have his moment when it mattered in Q3. We could go without George.
Okay, I don't agree. So let me just. I don't think we need to be afraid of George Russell, and so I'm glad that we're having this conversation now because I think it'll inform the bets that we make that might be at the top of the order. So my feeling on Mercedes is that we knew going into this weekend that they probably over one lap were going to be competitive because cooler temperatures tend to suit Mercedes.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw it right away. And they did. Both George and Lewis looked on it right away. Lewis, in particular, like in the low grip, he always does this, right? Like he shows up when it's low grip. He's the better of the Mercedes drivers. He's quicker than the rest of the field before everybody kind of tunes things in and more rubber gets laid down on the track. And then typically he falls away, which is exactly what happened when everybody else kind of fixed their setups and got on it. Kudos goes to George. He's a psychopath. He drives on the edge all the time. He's a really good one-lap qualifier. But crucially in qualifying, Mercedes could do something that the rest of the teams couldn't do with tire prep, which was they could go out and on their first hot lap, like they could do one lap of tire prep, and they could get the tire in the right working window when the rubber was a little bit newer, and they could extract more time from it. Whereas everybody else had to get it on their second run, essentially. Right? But that's how long it took them to get the tire at the right window.
Yeah.
So that is great over one lap, but it is irrelevant over the course of the race. And when you look at, you listen to Andrew Shovlin, you listen to both Lewis and George, they're not super convinced that they're going to be there on race pace. And even some of the, again, you can't read too much into race pace numbers, all the extrapolating that happens, but they don't look like they're at the same pace as both the McLaren and the Ferrari. Maybe more in line with the Red Bull. And that's just my thoughts on George being a P1.
Okay, I mean those are good thoughts. I don't disagree necessarily, but I don't think we need to bet against George in favor of, like, I'm looking right here. I brought us to without George. You already get plus 140 for Carlos without George. Now you're saying George is not a factor, so maybe he is no factor. But if he is a factor, I don't think we need to bet to pick between those two.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm more worried about Leclerc than I am about George Russell for that. So my preferred bet with the Ferrari right now, and I can see that it's a pretty soft line because it's been moving, is winning car to be Ferrari. So you get both the cars, you get two bullets in the chamber. But if one comes out of the race, then you still have the other one, and I think it's probably looks the best in race trim. And again, because I don't think George is really relevant, and neither is Pierre Gasly. I think it's going to be a battle between Leclerc and Sainz to win this race, and I think it's just going to be those two at some point. So I'd rather not pick between those two and forget about the rest of the field.
It's interesting because I felt I was going to throw out Carlos over Charles. Had a decent line, and I think he's got track position. It's an understeer track. Yeah. I think this is going to favor Carlos in that team matchup. Also, they need the win. I mean, Carlos in the post quali was saying, "Look, it's not just about finishing ahead of McLaren. We need to win this race." The team, they're not going to give him orders to let Leclerc by, and if they do, he's not listening. So I don't see really, unless they, by accident, Carlos got a bad strategy. But even that is happening less and less for Ferrari since Fred got there. I don't see a world where Carlos doesn't finish ahead of Leclerc, especially because the track is understeery.
I get that. So I don't agree with that. I don't think that we can discount Leclerc getting ahead. First of all, we saw Charles run an unbelievable race here last year. live in person. It was great.
Yeah.
And so I think he has the skills to this is, I know, I talked about Mexico with you earlier in the week, and I think that concern about him on the lower grip tracks is more something that's geared toward one lap qualifying because he just can't be on the edges much as Carlos can be. But over the course of a race with rubber going down, going into the second stint, he looked quicker legitimately on FP2 in terms of his overall projected race pace. He's shown that he is, in the same way that Carlos is, able to manage the tires on, like, think about Monza. He did the one stopper in Monza, right? I mean, if this ends up becoming a two-stop race, it doesn't look like it will be, but if it ends up becoming a two-stop race and Carlos is at the front and they take the conservative strategy, maybe Leclerc just stays out and just one stops.
Well, if this becomes a two-stop race, it's because George gets graining that he doesn't want to deal with, and the Ferrari is the team that might be able to deal with it and keep it a one-stop.
Yeah, but this happened. Happened in Monza, and they put Carlos on a two-stop track. Like, that's, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
He wasn't in the same. He wasn't in P2. He was in P5 or whatever. But like, I'm saying that this happened already, and again, for all the laudits that Carlos gets and deserves about his tire management, and this will very much be a tire management race, he still didn't pull off the one-stopper, and Leclerc did. And that's my concern, because Leclerc is behind. He could take a more aggressive strategy, and maybe that does pay off again.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why don't we take the minus 163 for one of the Ferraris to win the race?
I think I'm with you. And let's break down the Merc versus the Ferrari in qualifying. Okay. George made his difference in Sector 1. Carlos was saying the Mercs got way ahead of us in Sector 1, where there's a little more slower speed stuff, and then the Ferraris would catch them over the course of the lap. Well, that's the 2 kilometers straight down the strip. So think about in a race setting. Okay, so the Merc is faster through the slow speed. Maybe he has 1.2, 1.3. Carlos can't stay within DRS. That straight is so long that if you have the faster car to begin with on the straight, now you, even without DRS, you're getting a tow at the very least, a minor tow. Yeah. I think the Ferrari does end up getting the Merc over the course of the lap. So, yeah, let's jot this down. Let's put a star on it. Ferrari minus 163. I don't think we've ever taken a winning car bet.
It never really has made sense. And I think it's mostly because you want to dump on somebody that's not in the pole position. And traditionally, that hasn't made a lot of sense because there's such an advantage in the current day and age to being in the pole position. But I think, again, for the factors that you talked about and what we really know that Mercedes truly is, and I think there are environmental conditions that boost this performance. We saw it in Silverstone. We saw it in Belgium. The other crucial factor that allowed George to take pole is that when I mentioned that everybody had to run essentially like an extra prep lap pretty well to get the tires in the right window of qualifying to get up to speed with the Mercs. With the Mercs running one lap, they could fuel for one lap. So you know that they were lighter, but with everybody with the same fuel balance, that advantage goes away. So I truly don't think that the car performance is there to match the Ferraris, and that's why I think it's going to be probably a Ferrari one too. I don't know if we want to capitalize on that. I would rather stay away from a two-car bet. Yeah, in the chaos, right?
No, I like the 163.
Just take Ferrari to win.
I like that.
Okay.
Let's move to another bet, but before we do that, I read the chat. Thank you for being here, everybody. Thank you for chatting. Doug McKenzie, ND, is going to crush Army today, and then we're not going to hear. I love the troops. Respect to the troops. This might be worse than the Navy game, and we're not talking about Navy anymore. So, thanks, Doug McKenzie. Back to the F1. Mike, I have a crazy theory for you. Not even that crazy, but the line would suggest it should be crazy. I think maybe the people that are there in Vegas watching these cars, they might be crazy. And Iad in the chat talked about, we were talking at the start of the show, the Pirelli. This is a low downforce setup. It's a massive straight. You don't want a big rear wing. What you don't want to do is accidentally bring your big rear wing and then have to try to shave it down over the course of the practice sessions just to try to compete. Max Verstappen qualifies P5. Okay? Lando's P6. Oscar's P8. We got Yuki between the McLarens. I think the McLarens are a threat. I think I heard you say you think the McLarens are a threat to move forward. I don't think that Max Verstappen can finish higher than sixth. Where am I going here? Finishing position,
So,
Mike. Sixth or worse for
yeah.
Max Verstappen.
Do you remember the last time that we took this bet
We were the
in one bet?
sharpest people in the world.
It was the Italian Grand Prix. It was Monza, which is essentially, the the European version of Vegas. I'll call it that. Sorry, Vegas is the American version of Monza. I think that was the wrong way to word that. But we were on it because we didn't think that the Red Bull's aero efficiency that existed in Spa and some of the advantages they had earlier in the year, that they were going to see that same return. And you made the point already about the rear wing. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Like, did they forget the wing? Didn't they? Why are you shaving down and modifying an existing wing?
How
Like,
do
I do
you
think
forget a
they're
wing when you're in a constructor
yeah.
championship battle? And you
I
can
don't
lock
know.
up the
Again,
drivers this weekend.
yeah, I don't know. I am legitimately concerned about Max. Like, I think there's been a lot of like even media type of spin on the situation. Oh, maybe they'll have an advantage with DRS, and like I think that for Max to finish, like to qualify in fifth, is insane. That he
Insane.
was able to do that
Right.
because he's at a huge
Right.
disadvantage.
So, I mean, practically speaking, Mike, I think Gasly
Yeah,
falls out of this discussion. I mean, okay, so if
sure.
Gasly gets another podium, great.
No, that's fine.
That helps the
That's
match bet.
amazing. Yeah,
But let's assume that Gasly falls out of the six. So Max inherits fourth. We are relying on both McLarens, or I mean, Toto was still speaking highly of Lewis potentially finding a podium today. I don't know, but maybe Lewis is a factor from behind. I mean, I think both McLarens get Max. They've got this massive straight. He's got a massive
yeah.
wing in front of them. Do they not just blow by him?
I
Him?
can't see Bly. They Bly right by him. I think they do Bly by him at some point. And I'm trying to. I was trying to come up with an angle where it made sense to look at Max here with like, okay, so maybe your wing has a little bit more downforce, even though it doesn't seem like it, because they modified the wing, so like it kind of loses both downforce. Like they lose a lot of downforce when they add the sort of the reduction in drag. I think like it's just probably the worst position that you could be in from like an engineering perspective, how to do something like that versus bringing a specific wing for the track. So is he going to be able to stay out longer than other teams? I don't know if it really matters at that point. Like I don't think he's going to get that big of an advantage. He probably still deals with graining like everybody else will, and we have no reason to think that the Red Bull's going to manage graining better than the McLaren,
No,
for example,
the
or
Red Bull
even better than the Alpine. I don't know.
hasn't been great on
No,
tires like it used to.
no,
Ferrari is the
no.
team on tires right now.
100%, right? So, man, I kind of what is that? What
It's
is the
plus
line?
400 for sixth or worse. So like I would
I'm
immediately put it at the bottom, and maybe we put it in the flyer category just because of the line.
sure.
But
Yeah,
I don't like this like a flyer bet. I like this like Max is going to be sixth or worse.
yeah. Like I think that this is plus 400 because Max won in Brazil. And listen, the guy gets
And he
all the credit
dominated
in
here
the
last
world
year.
for winning. Yeah, yeah. We dominated. Yeah, he didn't dominate, but he
Well,
won. He didn't dominate. It was
yeah,
a little bit iffy
yeah.
for touch and go, right? A little bit with the penalty and all like so. But the result of Brazil, I think, is skewing the public's opinion on what this line should be. I mean, Max wins again type of thing. Like he's going to be competitive. I don't think that's the case. Again, if this is like Monza and it's a lower grip scenario, like I think that there's going to be some problem for Red Bull, and I don't know. Like I don't know how you overcome the situation again from an engineering perspective when you're down that much speed on the straight,
Well,
which is again the dominant characteristic of this track.
the engineering's done. Park for May. Like they maybe
Yes,
could
that's
have
it.
tried to, but no, they tried, and he's fifth because Lewis had an incident when his teammates on pole. I keep doing thumbs up, and the McLarens. I mean, I think the McLarens get him. I don't know. Would you throw? It's probably a flyer. Like you throw $100 on this, that's a great payout.
Let's keep let's keep talking because like we don't land on something else.
Well, I'm gonna put.
I am interested.
I'm gonna.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had it on my list to talk about.
Did you
Right?
actually sixth or
I did.
worse?
Six of works. Well, just like it's Monza. It's just Monza again. Like, and it's we went into Monza and we're like we're the sharpest guys in the world, and we bought it at like plus 220 or something. I think it might have been like plus 180, and all of the same signs are there. All the same characteristics are there. All the same Carlos signs are there.
Follow the
But
signs.
it's just following a result that I think is skewing the public's opinion on where Red Bull is, right?
Because he just had the drive of his career last weekend.
I don't think there's anything he can do to overcome that here. I mean, again, the chaos, like the only downside to this bet, and we should talk about this too, is
Yeah.
if cars come out at the front, then he starts inheriting positions, and that becomes more problematic, which maybe pushes it into a flyer category. However, how about this? What if we protect against that by looking at under 18 and a half to qualify?
Interesting. Now, let's say before we get into this, this has been an extremely reliable run for F1 this season.
Yeah, reliability. Yeah, reliability is not really a question, although we had that.
But even crashes, like guys are finishing races in F1 for the most.
They are finishing races, yeah. But this, I think that Vegas this weekend is a different beast, and we did see some chaos last year. How do you can't overcome the conditions that are existing in this race? It is extremely low grip. There are road cars driving on the track right now. It's sand and wind and dust blowing onto the track. It's going to be crazy. And there's limited runoff areas and barriers are close. And two cars coming out for minus 200, to me, like if you want to take even the max bet as a flyer bet, like that kind of protects against it in some ways. Do you know what I mean? Because if he starts inheriting positions, if cars are coming out, then we win that other bet.
I don't love it. I don't love the line.
I don't know, dude. I don't think you're hoping. I think that this is like there's stuff is going to happen. We already saw Colapinto go into the wall. That guy, he's a real threat to crash in this race. I think Leo Moss is a threat. These guys haven't really been on track yet to get an experience with laying down laps over the 50 lap race. I don't know. I'm not going to try to convince you of it. If you don't like it, I just like the fact that it protected against. If we want the max bet, then and something happens to the cars in front of him, then we kind of are advantaging ourselves with the minus 200.
I'll throw it on my sheet here just so I can remember to talk about it, but I'm not going to put it on the star list.
Okay.
Do you have something else you want to bring us to before I maybe bring us? Yeah. Okay.
There was a change that Haas made to, I think it was the front brakes of the car, as part of the upgrade package that they brought to the last triple header. And I think it started in Austin. And we immediately saw an uptick in Kevin Magnussen's performance. And he's actually said he didn't race in Brazil because he wasn't feeling well. But in those other two races in Mexico and Austin, he performed extremely well. He was the better of the two Haas drivers, both of those races. And he said, like, it's not like magic or anything. He just has confidence on the brakes. And this is, Vegas is a, drive a straight line and then get on the brakes, right? Like it's a braking here and confidence in braking, especially with the way that there is low grip and low temps. You got to be confident on the brakes. But look at Checo. The guy has no confidence on the brakes. He sucks, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Kevin Magnussen to be in the points starting at 12, plus 162, plus money. And I think he has the race pace to get in. And again, if you look at that minus 200 line for one car or two cars to come out, he might end up inheriting positions to some degree too. But I think he could get in based on free performance. He might even be able to get in ahead of Hulkenberg, who's starting at D9.
Well, I think unfortunately, I think that's who he has to get. Lewis is going to move forward. You could argue you're making a case that he'll get Ocon, but then he's got to get Magnussen. Or he's got to get Hulkenberg.
Yeah. I think he can. I think he can get Hulkenberg. I think he can inherit positions because I do think the cars are going to come out in this race. Who knows what happens with Pierre Gasly? Like, I get that he's running up at the front, but who knows what happens with Yuki Tsunoda? I think he's a risky endeavor in the top 10 as well, right? So I think that this line is actually at a really good value point. I understand why it's plus money. He's starting outside the points and he's in the midfield car, but with the chances of him inheriting positions and the confidence that he's been driving with, I kind of like that he's got 10 positions, or he's not 10 positions, but he's essentially got 3 positions at the bottom of the top 10 to play with. He could also easily be part of chaos that happens, so I'm not going to discount that.
Well,
but he looks like he's driving with more confidence than the drivers around. That's my point.
Why am I hesitating on
this? I don't even know if Lewis...
Is it that...
Okay, you can.
The general trend in Haas would be that Magnussen usually qualifies ahead and then moves backwards, and Hulk is the one that has the better race.
You said that before, but like that's not the general trend.
It's
Like
not
in
the
the time that they've been
why do I
partners, Hulkenberg has like he's outqualified him by a significant margin. Generally, it's only more recent that Magnussen has had this bit of a renaissance where he's A, qualifying ahead, and B, finishing ahead. And again, it looks like it's due to this sort of like newfound confidence in the braking zone.
Mm-hmm. I'm just not
There were
sure.
like special tracks that Magnussen looked good on, but like this is like now I think this is inherently changed to the car that he feels really comfortable with. And it would be a shame to not exploit that comfort before he's off the grid at the end of the year.
I agree with all that. What's him versus Hulkenberg?
If
I
you're
just
not
think
buying it,
I think
if you're not
that's
buying
coming down to
yeah.
him versus Hulkenberg. Versus driver
Well, okay,
matchups.
then yeah, that might be the if you want to take. I kind of like. Fuck, my audio's fucked up again.
Oh, like it's all
Can you hear
scratchy
me?
and shit.
Can you hear me or no?
Well, yeah, you're fine. You're good. This why
Every
why
time you talk, it's like a super loud. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense.
close
Either way, can I come back in?
close close the Ninja. Do you want me to text you? Close the Ninja and then start a new one and send it to me. Technical issues on F1000. I don't know. Do you guys like this Magnussen? Talk to me while Mike's gone. Now that he's not listening. 175. You're probably better to take the 10 positions for 162. Oh, he left everything. He left the background studio, just left me stranded. But we're gonna keep it going because why not? I don't think I like that one. I don't think. Man, he's just bringing in toss-ups, you know. Okay, he's back in the Riverside. Do I sound fine? Yep. Yep. This guy trying to tell me what to do with the direction and the production. You have to do the Ninja. I know I got to do the Ninja.
Well, I'm saying more like I have to send it to you. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Does that sound good?
You're doing. We sound fine. I know we probably sound like shit.
Oh yeah, 100%.
This is good. This is good. This is a great thing.
Okay. YouTube is just now seeing that there's audio issues. So can I chat in the own thing? Audio, yeah, I can. Issues get fixed.
Yeah, we can. We gotta just like the off season.
Yeah, off season. We got a triple header to worry about. Okay,
Let's
while you were gone,
let's just keep winning money.
While you were gone, everyone was jumping in the chat saying that they just didn't love a Haas. Like they didn't want to pick between the Haas's. I don't know.
I'll be watching. I'll be. That's fine. I'll be watching. That's okay.
It is. It's 175 for the matchup. I do think that the points comes down to one of the Haas's for P10, but you're probably better to take the 162.
Yeah, for the points finish.
I mean, you were looking for something that hedges against Max gaining places or something. Yeah, maybe a Magnussen points can help in that sense.
Not really. Not the same thing. So okay, hold on. So
yeah, well, it definitely does. If people are going to crash out the top and Max inherits places.
Oh, sorry.
Magnussen inherits points.
Yeah. Sorry. I thought you meant in the matchup with Humphrey. Yes, of course. You're right. I do think like maybe that is a hedge in some way.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a hedge in some way.
I
would just hate, like, this is the problem with, I like the plus 400 again on Max. I really do. I would just hate to lose that bet because I don't think he's there on performance, but he just gets those positions because something happens, right?
I don't want to bet about something happening in the top 5.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. Like,
what do you like?
Get that mentality.
Let
me bring us, I have 2 in the groups.
Okay.
In the groups.
I didn't like the groups. Okay.
Okay, interesting. I kind of like Gasly's group. Now, maybe you're going to say the Haas's are going to win this race because you're such a Haas guy. But Gasly's so high up, and I don't...
I'm an Alpine guy.
Huh?
You know that. You know that I'm an Alpine guy.
I think, hey, we've seen it once. We've now seen it twice. I mean, okay, it was raining in Brazil, but they made it count. Gasly is on a good string here. He's also has $0, 0 cents of damage this year. Big talking point this weekend. So you could say he's due. I think I don't think he's due. I think he's just going to finish the year with no damage. Pierre's in form.
He's in form. Yeah, he's definitely in form.
So does he drop behind Yuki with 4 places? I don't think so.
I mean, you know what? This is like, at some point, it's just going to be like Gasly ahead of Yuki, and we're going to be sweating, right? So if you want to sweat, then I'm down to sweat. I'm interested in that.
It's going to be them
like
fighting for P6, P7.
Like, the craziest thing is, like, minus 175, I feel like is not a good price for that. Like, I think that the public has jumped on that and pushed it down because of where he is. But you have to realize that it's going to be, what, 10 laps into this race, and all of a sudden you're sweating because you've got Yuki behind Gasly? Like, is it really worth paying that price to just immediately have him be in P6 versus P7?
Why?
That's what this is going to be.
You think Max gets Gasly that quick?
Yes. What do you mean? Gasly's not. He doesn't have front running pace. It's not even close.
Yeah, they have straight line speed. They're one of the fastest in the straights this week.
I don't think that's going to keep these guys. He's going to get annihilated going into some of the sector 1, like, for example. He's going to get overtaken so quickly.
I don't think people overtake in sector 1. They overtake on the straights, and Max has the wrong wing.
1. No, I don't. I think I can see. I guess my point is, 10 laps, and he's going to be ahead of Tsunoda. That's why the value doesn't seem right to me. At minus 175. Like, why? So you get one position essentially, because he's not keeping a buffer. I guess is my point. Do you get what I'm saying?
But I don't know that Yuki holds his spot. Yuki gets gobbled up by Piastri and Hamilton early. There is. You can't just say there's not 4 places between them. And I also think the Alpine's just faster than the V-Carb right now.
That's a fair point, actually, right? Like, there's the guys behind them, even Hulkenberg, I guess, potentially, right? Like, there's a way that you can get.
Hulkenberg, you're saying Magnussen's coming through?
No, that's fair.
The book is saying Checo, although I don't like show it to me first.
Yeah, no,
there is going to be a gap between them.
Do you think there's anything to? No, I guess not.
Like, I think Gasly finishes this race in the 7 range, P7. He's in the points.
Yeah, you could be right. You could be right. I'm not like I don't think that there's a massive.
If you don't love it,
I'm not saying I don't know. I guess like when I looked at it, I didn't like the value right away. But you're right though. Like my point of his buffer being eroded, you could say the same thing for Yuki. Like, he doesn't have the same pace as the cars behind him, and that can just easily create a new buffer.
Yuki's the kind of guy that gets gobbled up off the starts too.
He does, or he sends it on the outside and crashes. So he could easily lose it and not be in contention at all, right?
I'm realizing in the moment right now that 175 feels a lot shorter than 163 does to me. Like, just visually.
Yeah, weirdly.
Like, if this was a 163, you're probably like, yeah, that line makes sense. 175 is in our window, but it feels short. I also liked Group 4. We're right here, so maybe it's one or the other. But I like Lawson in Group 4.
I kind of like Lawson too. Like, okay, so
he starts behind Joe.
Joe's
not holding on to any positions here. Let's be real.
No, he's not. Lawson is. So they have they got the new suspension from Red Bull. Like, depends on how you want to look at that now, but they have a new suspension for the car.
Didn't that happen last year too? They got Red Bull's floor in Vegas.
No, they got the new suspension. So they got the suspension. I think going into Mexico or something. Like, if you essentially in the last 6 races, you're getting the exact same thing happened. They got the 2023 suspension, and then what happened? AlphaTauri was competitive for the rest of the year. At one point, I think it was Brazil, and we were Yuki and Danny in the points. I remember, and then because of that damage that happened off the start to Danny, and he got kicked to the back. Remember that? That was fucked because they had to change his car.
Oh yeah.
And shit. But on pace, they actually looked like a good bet. So, plus 137. I'm not worried about any of these other guys. I'm not worried about Alonso. Alex Albon.
But again, there's places between, it's Perez is there. He is behind Joe. He's going to have to go get Joe.
I'm not really worried about him getting Joe.
No, me neither.
Right? Is Liam Lawson, is this, I think this is too much for Colton. I think that he's, but I want to say, it's too much for Lawson. So Lawson's a bit more seasoned. You show up in Vegas for your first time, and it's big time zone change, and you race at nighttime, and you're probably worn out from a long season. I think that's what Colton throws on the wall. Do you think that Lawson is at risk of making a mistake in a low grip track? Like I don't really
No.
get the sense he's kind of psychotic too, so he's going to push it on the edge.
I also think Colapinto going into the wall, you could. I don't know if I necessarily want to like stand on this, but you could suggest, okay, Alex is out. They're in fighting for points in the Constructors' Championship. He's probably not making Q3, so just go for it. So yeah, he binned it. He went.
So
if Alex
actually,
is in Q2 with him, I don't think that crash happens. I think he's like,
know,
oh, it's all on
yeah.
me now. Let's see if I can sneak in.
You know who kind of got fucked? If I call not who kind of did. Who got fucked?
Ocon, no? Who?
No, Lawson was on a lap. Like I think Ocon, he was not going to improve. I think that was what I was reading. I can't remember because I didn't see it live. Like I wasn't.
Yeah, they didn't. Well,
live.
they're not going to show us Alpines live.
No, they don't give a fuck, right? But if I recall that the end of Q2 and that crash by Colapinto actually fucked Lawson over. And you see where Yuki put the car. Like I don't think that Yuki's like that much better.
No, I was just going to make that point. Right? Yeah.
So I think that Lawson's out of position, and that like plus money on it, that might be the right pick. I like the new suspension. I like that he's out of position, and I like that it's plus money.
Mm-hmm. I like all those things too, and I don't think any of these guys are a real threat.
Yeah, do I?
Okay, I'm gonna put a star on it. Let's put it on the list.
I'm glad that we talked that through. That's a better place probably to land
instead of the Gasly. I mean, I had them written down right beside each other.
I'm not even. You kind of.
I think Gasly wins that group, man. Tsunoda and the Hasses. I think he wins that group.
Okay, let's see if there's anything else. Is there anything else that we like? Because I am not opposed to looking at that. Is there an Oscar Piastri bet that we like? Like I didn't see anything that I liked with Oscar Piastri.
I didn't see anything either.
Do you like so he got a full session in FP2 and he looked like he had really competitive long run pace based on, again, this is just analysis that I looked at from two separate sources. So he looked like he could push the car, especially on the medium. I think that was where they were taking the sample from. And he, I don't know, I think when we raced at Baku, I mean, I get they had the mini DRS and they don't have that now. Maybe that's a factor. But it was low grip, and the grip kind of kept coming from the McLaren, and we know that they kind of struggle from the outset with mechanical grip. And then the car kind of improves over the course of the race stint. And they're really good in the second stint. So, is it a top 6 minus 275?
Minus 275.
That's nothing. Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Like, I don't think I want a 2-car bet, but
no, I don't.
Both McLaren, like minus 188, no.
Not worth it.
I don't think there is value because they are respecting the McLaren as the fastest car in the world right now.
Yeah, which is fair. Like the values actually exist on Ferrari in some way, but I don't want to with the 163. I think is the right bet.
Yeah,
I don't want to then go and take a Leclerc bet. You know what I mean?
No, I don't want to.
I don't think that makes sense.
There is a house in it. Sorry, match bet teams.
Did you see? I didn't see it. Did you?
It's slightly out our window, but like George just beats Max.
No,
I
don't even know. I wouldn't even take it.
We can let's keep looking. If it were Ferrari to win, Lawson, Gasly, and then $100 on Max 6 or worse, I would be happy with that.
I think I would be okay with that.
I would be okay with that.
Yeah, I think I would be okay with that.
One of the challenges of Vegas being in the middle of the night for everyone in the world except for Las Vegas. Actually, no, even in Las Vegas, who is it not in the middle of the night for? Anywhere in the world? There's got to be a time.
Just somewhere, yeah.
Because it's like in the middle of the night for Europe. It's middle of the night for us somehow.
Yeah. That makes no sense.
Nobody's happy about it.
The math never adds up. It doesn't make any sense.
We were in Vegas. It was the middle of the night. Barely staying awake by the end.
Yeah. That's not how time zones work. One of them has to be daytime somewhere.
Someone has to have this in the daytime.
Yeah.
What was I going somewhere? I forget. Oh, yeah, that's what I was going to say. So now we're filming in the middle of Saturday, and we don't have the fade bets. Like, we can't do podium finish fades.
Yeah. No, I know. Did you see any? I didn't see anything in combination podium that I liked though. Did you see it?
I don't think Max is on the podium.
No,
So it comes down to
these are all 2-card bets though. We're not looking at
no, we're not making that.
Yeah.
No. You're so scared of people crashing in Vegas.
Man, it's gonna happen. I can't believe you don't think it's gonna happen for minus 200.
I've
It's
just
gonna happen 100%.
there's been too many races in 2024 where I thought it was going to happen, and then it's just a clean race. There's been too
Just
many
a bad
clean
example.
races.
But what about last week? Or last night?
Yeah, is a monsoon
Yeah.
coming tonight?
Maybe.
I didn't see anything in the team match bets. I don't think, unless we wanted to really go in on Carlos. I do like that
honestly,
value.
the only team match bet I liked was actually Piastri over because of the value.
We just know the team.
Yeah. No, because there's no, like they said, there's no papaya rules anymore. Like, Oscar's free to race and win. Lando's, I'm so bad at front tire graining. He said, Oscar could she could be bad. Like, he could just not deal with the tires well.
But
I would dump on Oscar to finish it.
If it comes down to a position swap in the McLarens, that means that Lando's either mathematically eliminated or still technically in the championship. You don't think there's any papaya rules to keep that going? There might be like FIA rules that call down and say, hey, we got 2 more.
I wouldn't
races.
want to you're right. I wouldn't, because that's the type of thing that could end up comes down to that, and you were just like, what's happening?
Yeah.
Why are they swapping them on the last lap?
So he's not mathematically done.
It wouldn't make any sense. I would hate to be in the other end of that.
Yeah. Leader after lap number. I don't think I want to go after any of that.
I didn't see anything that because you have to be so gentle with the tires. I don't know if anybody's going to push like really hard right away. And I guess I am. I guess I like the Gasly bet. Like he's got a lot of spots. Like it's just a lot of positions to be.
Danny in the chat got his fingers going. Prime time in New Zealand, he said. Double down on
Let's
Lawson.
fucking go. I like it.
Yeah, I like it too.
Okay, I like
it
that.
too.
A ringing endorsement. Are there any leans in the chat that we got to take a look at here?
Jared says you're too scared to bet against. Oh no, are you scared, Jared? You got to remember Monza. When the universe puts Max Verstappen in a position where he simply cannot move forward. Sometimes you just got to be on it.
What was that? How Italian did you just get there? You were saying
it was partly Italian, but what's that meme? Is it Lord of the Rings where the guy's like simply?
Oh yeah. Yes.
You know the people know what I'm doing.
Oh, people know. There's no other. You don't see another.
Without George, but you don't want to pick between the Ferraris.
No, we were on Ferrari.
Yeah, we're on Ferrari to get it. I gotcha.
Yeah.
Ferrari most points, I think.
No, it's not. This is no value. It's hilarious. Minus 350. Like it doesn't. You must just take one of them to win the race.
If George wins the race, Merck gets most points.
He's not winning the race. Dude. He is a good one the race.
I see Ead Stroll last finisher. Let's see. Is this going to be a week? No.
Oh no. Why would you even think that? He's like, what is he in?
Where's he starting? 13.
13.
He's still the favorite. Our guy.
13.
Our
He's
guy.
Like, how is he not dumping on Joe to finish it last? Like that's like tremendous value for Joe to finish it last.
From 13th? I don't want. I couldn't jump on it.
Yeah, it's tremendous value.
I'd go on Bottas
easily. Maybe, yeah.
This is the week that Valtteri finally does it.
Maybe.
That's too funny, man. He finally gets a good qualifying. They're like, no.
The book is so much.
You're still gonna finish last.
They don't care at all.
Oh man.
I don't know.
I mean, I would put the Gasly group.
Bets. Okay, you're right. I'm fine with the, and I'm fine. Honestly, I'm good with the flyer. Like I do kind of like the max bet.
I want to be on the max bet. Let's be wrong this time, or let's double down that we're the sharpest guys in the world when the universe just simply won't let Max move forward.
Okay. Well, we got there's like a profit boost that exists. We got what's going on here?
Oh, for one of the things we're on?
30% profit boost. I think maybe we can. I don't know. Let me just plug them in. So the
shortest
is
That's in the
Gasly.
sports book we're using today. We do shop around sometimes. If you're watching, and you've probably heard me say this before, but if you're new and you'd like to jump in and join us, please bet responsibly. But if you would like to join sportsbooks in your area, we have a partner. It's signupexpert.com. You can go to signupexpert.com/F1000, just like it is on our channel with the word spelt out 1000. And we have all of our favorite sportsbooks ranked. And if you want to sign up, there's a lot of first-time bet, newcomer type bonuses that signupexpert.com will make sure you get all of the things that are offered. And it helps us. I mean, we're just two guys that like to do this for fun, so it certainly does help and support us. Thank you. Gasly Group 3.
And then it's
Tsunoda, Hulk, and
Lawson. Finishing position.
Yeah, finishing position singular.
Singular.
And also, not that I need to add to this max bet, this only happens if he qualifies 5th or 6th, because the bet is 6th or worse. Like, I would never be on this and say he's exactly 4th or exactly, he's in a position where we're getting value because he has to go backwards, but you get 6 to 20 with this bet, which is why I like it. You get a DNF with this bet.
Yeah.
What if his steering wheel comes unplugged again?
Okay, what do we like $100 on max? Like, do we with the flyer? Is it 50?
Yeah.
Is it 100?
No, I think it's,
I'm okay with
100.
Then I had 350, like Gasly to win his group, and then 350 on Ferrari to be the winning car, and 200 on Lawson. So that is Gasly wins 200. The Ferrari bet wins 200. So that would be $200 each of profit. Together, if we were to win the Gasly and the Ferrari bet, we would be just above breaking even.
Okay, and lose the other two?
And lose the other two.
Okay.
So that's the way to do it, I think.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. So we are
Say it for the
Gasly
people.
to win.
Say it again for the
yeah.
people. Yeah.
Okay, so Pierre Gasly to win Group 3 at minus 175. So that's with Tsunoda and the Haas's, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then we are
How
on
much?
Ferrari.
How much?
Sorry, minus 175. We bet 350 on it to win by
350.
Yeah. So then Ferrari is to be the winning car. Could be either car. That is at minus 163. We bet 350 on it to win 565. Then we are in Lawson to win Group 4 at plus 137, and that is a group with Fernando Alonso, Alex Albon, and Mike Zhou. Yeah, Zhou's the other guy. It's a big threat. We get $200 on that to win 475, and then we have a bit of a flyer here. Max Verstappen to finish in 6th place or worse. He is starting P5. It is a plus 400 bet, and we put $100 on it.
And that category is finishing position. There's two of them.
Finishing
One's plural.
position.
We're in the singular one where you pick exactly where they finish. All right. That's the show. Viva Las Vegas, the start of the final triple header. I mean, we've been on a roll lately on the season, 3,300 in profit so far. Let's keep it rolling, Mike. I'm going to be up in the middle of the night. We never plug our socials, but we do have a Twitter that nobody looks at. I'm going to be tweeting during the race. So if you want to sweat out the bets with us, jump to our Twitter.